Hi, I'm Obsessing Again. Today's video is looking at themes of love, loss, and the mechanic of blinking through time. Time is a precious commodity. The passing of time can be witnessed in the form of sunrise and sunset. The sweeping mechanical arm of a clock rotates in the shape of a circle, an evolution from the sundial. Sundials represent the passing of time as light from the sun, which casts a shadow over the gnomon. As the sun moves, so does the casting of the shadow. Clocks are circular and timelines are represented as a singular horizontal line. Einstein stated that time is relative, and yet Before Your Eyes tells a story about the passing of time in the form of a gameplay mechanic, blinking. To make a game appealing, it has to have a unique selling point, especially when it's in the VR format compared to traditional flat screen games. Before Your Eyes have created one of the most compelling gameplay mechanics to make the story tailored to you. Your eye becomes a tool of time progressing, or the action of something happening like a shutter of a camera. You're the director of the story presented before your very eyes.
The quiz said find the zero, and he just drew an arrow pointing to it.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Your introduction to this game is seeing a starry night whilst you're gently coasting along a sea. You're introduced to the ferryman.
Even though you're no longer in your body's still inside of you. If that makes any sense.
Upon reflection on the ferryman, who is a coyote, the mythology behind coyotes is that they play a significant role in the fateful decisions of humans, which is fitting for someone who will decide your fate in the afterlife. In addition, they are deemed as tricksters and represented one who has the power over your afterlife. The opening line from the ferryman subtly foreshadows that you've come to the end of your life quicker than most.
Well, hello there, stranger. Ooh, you're a real bright and shiny one, aren't you?
The setting of a starry night and the alluding to the shininess of yourself feels like it might be connected to the 19th century traditional rhyme. Starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight. I wish I may, I wish I might, have the wish I wish tonight. It's a nursery rhyme about wishing upon a star. Stars being beacons of hope originated from the beliefs of the Greeks. Ptolemy, the Greek mathematician and astronomer, claimed that wishing upon a star could be heard by the gods who descend to Earth. In pop culture, the Starlight, Star Bright was recited in the 1940 film Pinocchio.
I wish I might have the wish I make tonight. Figaro?
Geppetto wishes for Pinocchio to be real, whilst Benny might wish to have more time to fulfill his ambitions and goals. You embody Benny, seen through the eyes of his earliest memories. Initially, it takes some getting used to. You'll spend the opening minutes straining your eyes, looking out at sunset whilst cradled in a bed of beach towels on the seashore, all for your eyes to well up and then flicker like a hummingbird, skipping precious memories. A metronome is a tool that is brought to the screen as used as a reminder that whilst the story is continuing, your blink will skip the story further. You will spend your time holding onto the memories of getting your first game console or getting a lecture in the back of the car.
What was that? Was that the piece? What is going on with you these days?
The core characters beside yourself are Mum, called Ellie, your dad, Eric, and Chloe.
Pretty good drawing. You should draw pictures of more different stuff. Not me, though.
You're the son of these two gushing parents who idolise you and lay out all your motivations in life before you can even walk. Their personalities can be stripped down to being the good cop and bad cop. As you settle into the game, you're presented with options to broaden your horizons. Whether it's knocking over towers of blocks or mimicking your parents, it provides enough nuance to feel like you're truly connected to these parents.
Oh, that's sure a little mess of color. Hey, we do not throw things in this house.
The mum is coming to terms with never fulfilling her potential as a composer and resorts to being an accountant to get by, which we learn of later in the game. Ultimately, she feels like she let her father down for him not being able to see her at her pinnacle as a composer. This death early on in Benny's life means the mum begins to project onto him in the way her father did. His mum's grief isn't highlighted, but when Benny plays piano, it brings her back into the light.
He's playing my piece. He must have figured it out by ear.
Like any parent, she's worried about her son not having that special talent.
A real chance to be really good at something. I mean this with no offense at all. But I don't think you actually really understand what that is.
As Benny begins to explore art through painting or drawing, he is constantly being presented with sheet music or repetitive piano lessons.
Yeah, but
In between these lessons, you learn that his interests are being glossed over by the parents' persistence to project their passions.
Dinner's ready.
Eric is the cool, relaxed dad. He encourages Benny to be playful and curious about the world around him. His easygoing way of living puts him as the mediator between the expectations his wife projects and the balance Benny needs to just enjoy being a kid. He and his wife behind closed doors are butting heads about how to parent him. His laid-back approach provides comfort and stability. Chloe is the unashamedly brash tomboy who's Benny's next-door neighbour. The quaint way of passing each other notes across class, Benny drawing comical depictions of teachers, is a warming way to experience the rudimentary notions of adolescent friendship and love.
She is ready to devour any of the deceased who do not pass judgment.
Ew, why is he so scared looking?
The story of how you meet and how you last see her is a story that runs parallel to what the parents deem as important, becoming something special in their eyes. The driving demand of becoming a great pianist doesn't equate to wanting to be heard in your truest form of expression, painting.
Anyway, these are Riley's memories, and they're mostly happy, you'll notice, not to brag.
Disney's Inside Out is a film about the inner thoughts of an 11-year-old girl, Riley, which has personifications of rage or joy as examples. The film represents memories in the form of orbs that glow a colour of the emotion that is associated with the memory. The whimsical nature is a big differentiator between the two. However, both treat the nature of these developmental moments with importance. Inside Out uses these orbs as building blocks that form Riley's personality.
Sounds good, honey.
In addition, Before Your Eyes shows salad days of playing with bath toys, of blowing out birthday candles. It's the rose-tinted glasses of being unconditionally loved. The Charlie Brown shenanigans are incredibly alluring, especially with the frivolous nature of play. For example, you can engage your cat by flicking its toy back and forth, or learning to take photos with your dad, as your mum mutters in the background, which are deeply human and relatable. Like the orbs in Inside Out, you're witnessing core memories.
Sorry, buddy. Turn around, Elle, so we can photograph you.
I'm just really behind right now.
The eye mechanic allows for you to cut scenes off or let them drag on, depending on your self-control. The story allows for some decision making, and though they may appear trivial, they are the pillar of emotive beats for the story. When you're given the option to defy or comply with your mum's wishes, you, as a player, can start forging your narrative. In the instance of Chloe calling during piano practice, I defied Mum because I knew for Benny's best interest, going to a prep school for musicians wasn't his dream.
Oh my god. Is she really calling you again? What, is she obsessed with you?
So listen, I found a construct.
What are you doing? I explicitly asked you not to
Because
pick
of this
up the
connection
phone.
I identified with him, led me to forge a path in his immediate future
what do you
and
know?
to dream up the rest of the life he never got to live. I chose the path of the tortured artist who didn't want to comply with the corporate world of contracts. The love he had for his parents was everlasting, but he wanted to succeed despite his mother's wishes. Additionally, I went with the trope of the artist feeling lonely and that he had to be somewhere that wasn't here to succeed. His journey from student to renowned artist was the life he deserved.
I'm stunned. The ironic sincerity of this piece is so sincerely ironic.
That's right, Murph.
The Christopher Nolan 2014 film Interstellar's synopsis is of a group from NASA looking for a habitable planet, lies with a deeper undertone. It too shares an equally compelling story about the passing of time. Its poignant moment centres around Matthew McConaughey's character, Cooper, saying goodbye to his daughter, Murph. The unknown message of stay is presented in Morse. We learn later in the film that it's a message from Cooper.
I figured out the message. One word. You know what it is? Stay. It says stay, Dad.
When Benny and Chloe are sleeping under the stars, you appear to drift off. connecting the stars that would later form the message, "Stay here." This moment is the bedrock for when Benny is at his happiest. We see him dreaming up the future of what his life could have been. Because of his short life, many would deem his treasurable life experiences as trivial. Like Interstellar, both pieces conjointly share a strapline for a poignant moment in their respective lives. As the ferryman said about a star burning bright, the mythical nature of this scene is revisited when asked to look back on his life one more time. The comparison between the two is that the stars are already aligned. The game weaves a careful line between the juncture of seeing Chloe as a friend or something more special. For the innocence of being 11 or 12, I felt it was fitting for Benny to have experienced love. My interpretation of this scene comes from Steve Jobs' Stanford speech in 2005.
You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. Because believing that the dots will connect down the road will give you the confidence to follow your heart, even when it leads you off the well-worn path. And that will make all the difference.
I'll be right back, Benny, okay?
Just maybe 5 minutes, kiddo, okay?
The representation of Benny's illness is how it gradually begins to engulf the room. The strobes of red flashing lights and the manifestation of the cell with its long strands makes it a striking visual. The repeated days of gradual decline make for a heartbreaking experience. Besides the blinking mechanic, it is closing your eyes to focus on the conversations that linger outside your room.
What's the point?
What do you mean? What's the point? What does that mean?
What's the point of any of it?
A heartache that everyone is suffering in harmony. Confronting Chloe about his feelings provides the resolution that he needs for his sanity.
With his first love and blowing it the next day. First love? Okay, Benny.
He's given the freedom of expression in the form of a typewriter. It's the validation he had sought to truly say how he felt. The low self-esteem from being isolated as everyone's lives continued, whilst his illness took host and regressed him. Being restricted to a bedroom with rays of light beaming in and the figment of imagination harvested the power for him to dream.
I used it in
His
college
self-loathing
for
in
a
the
year.
form of an essay about himself is when Mum steps in. And like every child, they need the love and support of a parent through tough times.
Was very
She sees him as her magnum
Actually, I was
opus.
just good at full.
As you're sailing to the decision of whether the ferryman can successfully pitch to the gatekeeper, he opts to tell the story of the person who knows him best, Mum.
So, I wanted to read you something I wrote for you, which is about the Benny I've known for 11 years now.
For all of Benny's grandiose thoughts about what his life could have been, the mother reminded him that even in his final moments, the selflessness he displayed is why he was loved. The overflowing of emotion resonated with me, tears welling up, forcing my eyes to flicker from the scene,
So he made
word
up
to
a
word.
story of the great life he thought he wanted to live.
Which only made him forget the great life he already
Had.
As the story is recited, you are told to close your eyes one last time. People say when you die, you see a bright light at the end of the tunnel. In a game of blinking and the rooms lighting up or disappearing around you, your final blinks can be the most painful. Before your eyes is a carefully curated game of emotive familiarity with a hint of melancholy. It pushes the boundaries of storytelling in a way I've never experienced in gaming. By levelling you to a child and faced with the inevitability of death, before your eyes sophisticatedly conveys the feelings of love, loss, and resigning to the harsh realities of life.
Keep playing, B. She's
The
listening.
harsh reality in Benny's case is his clock coming full circle. His sundial is cast in shadow, but it's not to say he didn't have an enriched life. Before the credits roll is a track titled A Full Life. Whether yours comes to an end sooner than expected, or you don't achieve everything you had set out, to be loved and to have shared experiences with people you care about is a life well lived. The emotive way of making your eye a snapshot of your memories and the inevitability of time coming to an end It's painful,
Close
but
your
also
eyes
cathartic.
and keep them
Like
closed.
Benny's mum, Ellie, says,
You know, my father once told me, when I was about your age, the only way to fight against time is to create a work of genius, which might live on after you're gone.
thank you for letting me obsess again.